Australia has a mixed relationship with gaming. On the one hand, it's home to some of the most passionate and articulate gamers on the planet, some of whom start up some very good YouTube channels. On the other hand, gamers in Australia face some odd barriers.
Australian gamers have been blamed by network bosses for using too much data, and they could see their connections throttled as a result. National Broadband Network boss Bill Morrow said the organisation, which runs a fixed wireless network to connect some rural and remote areas, plans to throttle the data usage of some of what it calls extreme users during peak periods. And who are those extreme users? It's gamers predominantly, Morrow told an Australian parliamentary committee recently. The Guardian reports that Morrow said gamers require high bandwidth because they typically use high definition video streaming, and that means they occupy capacity during peak periods. Interestingly, one of the politicians that Morrow was speaking to, Stephen Jones, the Shadow Minister for Regional Communications, said that he didn't want to fixate on the issue of gaming because gamers were no less legitimate than other users. Here's what he said. I'm so concerned that we do not characterise these people as gamers, which would mean it is a less legitimate use than somebody who's trying to run a home-based business. I'm keen to get some hard information about what the profile of these users is. If the NBN company is making significant decisions about cancelling 100 megabits per second services and diverting scarce capital and around infrastructure upgrades.
Morrow told the committee that NBN didn't have the data to run that kind of analysis on their users. So Jones asked, in that case, why he mentioned gamers. With great respect to everything you've said over the last 15 minutes, you've been saying to us the problem here is gamers, Jones said. Morrow objected. I never said that. Hold on. I never said that. I said there were super users out there consuming terabytes of data, and the question is, should we actually groom those down? It's a consideration, so don't put words in my mouth. Said the guy who said it's predominantly gamers.
Yeah.
Don't put words in my mouth.
It's really interesting how that panned out, because the guy, he said it's predominantly gamers apparently, and then it's gone back to the politician that on this committee that you're speaking to. One of the members of the committee, the Stephen Jones, has said, well, hang on a minute, why are you saying gamers? With the game, there's nothing wrong with it being gamers because that's no less legitimate than anyone else using the internet. And also, how can you say it's gamers because you can't even tell us, you can't give us data analysis on who the high profile users are? You just said we don't have data for that. So why are you talking about gamers? You don't, So it became this kind of slightly heated thing by the sounds of it, because Stephen Jones wanted to make sure that they don't kind of demonise or whatever the gamers just because they're using a certain amount of data, and for that matter, they don't really know that it's gamers using that amount of data.
Well, my interpretation of it was maybe Jones didn't want to maybe throttle the business users by mistake, because the way that he said it, I guess it's open to interpretation. I think he's trying to protect people who are legitimate users of the internet, right? Who might be using terabytes upon terabytes, but running businesses. Like, you don't want to throttle them people as a government. That's just bad news.
And I completely don't buy the point as well that they say that Morrow said that gamers use more high definition video streaming or whatever. I mean, who doesn't watch Netflix these days? Who doesn't watch in the UK, BBC iPlayer and things like that? They're completely commonplace. As commonplace as just watching telly now. Who doesn't do that? And they're all high bandwidth stuff. You need a lot of data to do that. So saying it's gamers who stream high definition video stuff is just bollocks. The website gamesindustry.biz actually approached the NBN about all this. A company spokesperson confirmed that it plans on upgrading capacity to tackle congestion on its network. Quotes, in addition to the capacity upgrade program, we are also considering a number of other options to help manage congestion going forward. Shaping high data usage is one of those options, but as per our usual approach, we would undergo an extensive consultation process before applying any such initiative. So shaping high data usage, that's throttling basically. That's what he's talking about there. They're thinking about throttling. That's like one of the options, but they're also hopefully want to upgrade capacity. They're like a government supported organisation that they've been. It's kind of like in the UK. It's kind of like BT Openreach or whatever. They've got to get the infrastructure out there to people. Everyone has. It's almost like a facility. It's like water or electricity now. You need a data connection, right? So this is like an organisation that supplies that to people in rural areas specifically, and one of the things they're saying is they might throttle. So that might be a reality. If you're an Australian gamer in certain parts of Australia, you might have your connection throttled in the future, but they're saying they wouldn't do it without an extensive consultation process, which means they would go, do you mind if we throttle your data connection? And you go, no, and then they just do it.
Yeah.
Or you say, yes, I do mind, and they just do it anyway.
It might not even matter because the way they're going these days, not a lot of games get released in Australia. Am I right? You know,
Exactly.
they get restricted because of all sorts. But that side, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think that gamers or gaming in Australia has got a PR problem. I wonder if there's any trade organisations in Australia representing the games industry to the government, like canvassing the politicians and stuff like that, and raising the profile of gaming like it should be done, like they do in America with the ESA, whether you like them or not. They do represent the industry to the politicians and such like, and try and make people accept gaming as a part of culture and a legitimate hobby, which it seems like people talking down in Australia about gaming all the time. I don't know, maybe that's just me, just thrown out there. So do you think that gaming does have a PR problem in Australia? And who are your favourite Australian YouTubers? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check out some more of our content on your screen there. Support us on Patreon with that link right there. We'll see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.